Some kind of creature has taken and piled tons and tons of leaves and branches. They're snapped like twigs. No hatchets. It's been in here, and we see how whatever it is has been all smoothed out. Claw marks as we look at the trees and stuff.
Walking down. Bigfoot's walking down right now.
We see something moving on the hill above. It does not look like a person. Look at how long the hands hang down to the...
Down to his knees at least.
He's screaming at something. He's going back and forth. He is furious.
The Marble Mountain Bigfoot video is the longest recording captured of what is said to be a real-life Bigfoot. Recorded in 2001, it shows a humanoid-shaped figure walking across the ridgeline near Fort Jones, California. At the time, the cameraman was leading a youth group on a camping trip throughout the area when they stumbled upon an isolated campsite complete with a shelter made of broken trees. While filming, this teen here brings to the attention that a Bigfoot is making its way down the mountainside.
He's walking down.
Oh my word.
Bigfoot's walking down right now.
Now the reason I'm reviewing this video is because I believe the group's excitement did get the better of them. That's because there is a powerful example of suggestion that is narrated by the cameraman and the others as they describe what they find. While watching, you'll hear how the cameraman in particular selects descriptive words that influence your thinking to align with the story's narrative. I'll be reviewing this video based upon verbal analysis, mostly in use of suggestion, rather than my usual body language breakdowns you would come to expect from my channel. So with that, let's listen as they discuss amongst themselves what they find while exploring the area.
I just found a little bit of snow, some piled logs, but as we wander up, as we wander up into the trees a little bit, we notice that there's a pile of a brush here. Some kind of creature has taken and piled tons and tons of leaves and branches to either camouflage or make a place to hide. We notice claw marks as we look at the trees and stuff. We see that they use trees around about to just they're snapped like twigs. No hatchets, no human marks of a saw. Everything's snapped as though by mighty, mighty strength.
They seem to have picked a human camping area. You can see with these fire pits.
We see down here a fire pit, but we see no evidence that there was ever a fire.
So now hearing that, what's currently on your mind? Are you thinking of a tall, strong, mysterious creature with claws? He is doing this by using his words to navigate us to the same conclusion. He provided us with the keywords strength, claws, and not human. And with this information, we have taken it and filled in the blanks.
Some piled logs, but as we...
So here he starts by saying some piled, he then pauses, as if realizing he's about to prove that other people were present at some point.
Some piled logs, but as we...
He follows with logs but, making these two words run together almost like one word, so he can quickly divert the topic.
Some piled logs, but as we wander...
So this observation alone suggests that other people have been in the location at some point, and perhaps they are the actual builders of this shelter.
Some kind of creature.
Now he states here, some kind of creature. Why he said creature, I don't know, because he could have just as easily said something or someone. However, he chooses to use the word creature. He literally just ruled out humans as having a part in the shelter's creation, although there is a pile of logs right here.
Has taken and piled tons and tons of leaves and branches.
Now I get that he means a lot, but he's clearly over-exaggerating. There's definitely not tons and tons of leaves and branches here.
To either camouflage or make a place to hide.
Now he mentions that the shelter's purpose is possibly for one of two things. It's either for camouflage or for a place to hide. Now why would the maker of this shelter be so sinister? I'm sure protection from the elements and a place to sleep would be a more plausible possibility. However, he doesn't say that because his aim is to make the creature sound possibly more dangerous or unsettling than it actually is.
We notice claw marks as we look at the trees and stuff.
Here he further backs his claim of it being a creature by mentioning that we notice claw marks. Now the extra word here that didn't need to be used is the word claw, because the sentence still makes perfect sense without the word claw in it. As in, we noticed marks. He could have even said we noticed scratches, however that doesn't have the same impact as claw marks. Because a key can scratch, or even a sharp stick, but a claw, well that's already telling us what made the scratches. So by adding the word claw, he again rules out the possibility of it being human, or even having the marks appear from any other source. Now he also indirectly brings awareness to the mystery creature's height here by showing how far the claw marks appear up the tree. Is that some kind of red rope?
We see that they use trees around about to just...
He says, we see that they use trees. By saying they, he may be suggesting that there is more than one, as opposed to saying, we see that it used trees.
I see how they're broken, snapped like
They're
twigs.
snapped like twigs. No hatchets?
They were snapped like twigs. He now refers to the mystery creature's strength and how easy it was to break multiple trees in half. However, we don't know this to be true. For all we know, the creature that built this really could have worked up a sweat.
No human marks of a saw?
Again, he alludes to the idea that this is a mystery creature and not human. He could have said no marks of a saw because again, the statement still makes total sense without the word human in it.
Everything snapped as though by mighty, mighty strength.
Again, he is implying that no tools were used, and either a mighty, mighty strong person or a mighty, mighty strong creature snapped these trees down. However, we know how he feels about human intervention at this point, so this would be a mighty, mighty strong creature he would be referring to. So while on this topic, here's a clip of a little girl punching a tree.
Everything snapped. Everything snapped as though by mighty strength.
Wait a minute. There must be only one way that's possible. Aha! I knew it.
Every bit of the...
I seem to have picked the human camping area. Like you see with these fire pits.
You see down here a fire pit, but we see no evidence that there was ever a fire.
So the man in the background says they seem to have picked a human camping area, and followed by making note of the fire pits, and again uses the word they, and again mentioning human. Now the cameraman states, we see a fire pit, and then backtracks on that to say, but we see no evidence that there was ever a fire. He says the word no twice, to confirm that there is absolutely no evidence of a fire, except for the obvious fire pit and log pile. If he didn't say, we see no evidence of a fire, he would have left the argument open for other humans having involvement in its construction, thus possibly proving that it was man-made. So let's look at what we have so far. We know this creature is tall, it's strong, and apparently has claws, and there are no human tools used in the shelter's construction. He has not yet referred to this creature as a Bigfoot, or a Sasquatch, or label it as anything else.
Walking down.
Oh my word.
Bigfoot's walking down right now.
We hear someone say he's walking down. He follows by correcting himself and states nonchalantly, Bigfoot's walking down right now, and nobody corrects him or suggests otherwise. At this point, it seems like everyone there is sold on it being a Bigfoot, and of course, we have the first use of the word Bigfoot.
Bigfoot's walking down right now.
The creature is now labelled, which sounds like a reasonable conclusion to the linguistic journey that the cameraman has provided us.
See, he's standing taller.
We hear this teen then say, see, he's standing taller. The teen leaves it to the others to assume that he could mean taller than the ridgeline, taller than the mountain peak, taller than the trees, taller than the average size human, or taller than it was just a second ago. And again, this is left up to us to interpret how tall the Bigfoot is, so we personally autofill the necessary information.
Uh-oh! I'll get back to camp.
We see something moving on the hill above. It's kind of looking at us.
I don't see it. See King's Castle?
Yeah.
He's shaking his fist at us.
It's right in between.
He's shaking his fist at us. Now, I have replayed this over and over, and I cannot see this figure shaking its fist at them. It does, however, seem to be flailing its arms about. The cameraman seems to be suggesting that this Bigfoot shares human-type gestures to appear as if he has the Bigfoot species all worked out. The body language of this figure could also be seen as someone trying to keep balance while walking along the rocky hillside, and may not be an angry gesture at all.
The 2 trees right now.
He's screaming at us something. Get out of my camp, get out of my camp.
The man recording now says he's screaming something at us, and he says this as if he's reading the Bigfoot's lips. I feel the cameraman at this point is reflecting how he would feel if strangers were in his campsite, because the figure may not be angry or may not even notice them. Also, if it was screaming, then it could be possible for them to hear it in regards to other Bigfoot testimonies.
The sound you hear is what some experts claim to be a Bigfoot scream. It is regarded as the highest quality audio of the creature ever captured.
But you don't hear any strange noise in the video, and nobody raises the issue of hearing screams or noises.
He's coming, is he coming down?
He's jumping up and down.
He's jumping up and down. Now, I cannot see this figure's feet leaving the ground in this video.
He's going back and forth. He is furious. He knows we're in his...
So far, he's noticed that the figure is kinda looking at them, it's shaking its fist at them, and it's screaming for them to get out of its camp while jumping up and down. And now he's going back and forth because he is furious. So at this point, maybe the cameraman is over-dramatizing the encounter for the entertainment of the group. I say this because you can see the group members consist of many young teens that look to be taken in by the whole ordeal.
There he is.
That is...
Look like a person.
It does not look like a person. Its arms are way too big. Look at how long the hands hang down to the...
How can you see from
They're down to his knees at least, aren't they?
Now we hear, it doesn't look like a person. And the cameraman agrees by mirroring with, it does not look like a person, while clearly distinguishing does not as opposed to doesn't. The most common trait the Sasquatch has is that it resembles a human. And this figure looks like a human. It's standing upright, it's walking, and its arms are by its side. So by confirming that it doesn't look human, is most likely their way of trying to still convince each other that it's not a person. If this Bigfoot was on display, we would be looking to find similarities between its species and ours, such as comparing facial features and mannerisms. He already pinned all its body language that it was acting human. But with its physical appearance, they are purposefully finding differences to keep the momentum going.
Its arms are way too big. Look at how long the hands hang down to the...
How can you see?
Good question.
They're down to his knees at least, aren't they?
We also hear this man in the background say, "They're down to his knees at least, aren't they?" in regards to the Bigfoot's hands. Now this statement starts off as an observation, but then ends as a question, meaning he had no idea if they did or not. Yet it helps to build the story that this is a Bigfoot, and its hands are hanging to its knees quite like a monkey or a chimp.
Now when the guy comes walking down and says, "Hi," you're gonna erase all of that. I hope.
This is...
Why?
Because it's not very...
Right now we have a woman in the background breaking the illusion by sharing what she believes, and that is, it's simply a person. She says, now when the guy comes walking down and says hi, you're gonna erase all that, I hope. Even this woman can see that these guys are overreacting, and she even corrects herself by removing herself from the story, by correcting where to your.
Now when the guy comes walking down and says, "Hi," you're gonna erase all of that. I hope.
She's then asked why, to which she replies, "'Cause it's not very," and with that, the camera cuts and opens to another shot. Now this could be that the man stopped recording because he didn't want to taint the idea that this is a Bigfoot with this woman's skepticism. And from there, the humanoid in the clip just slowly walks out of sight. Now, I believe the commentary played a massive part in the importance of this video. And if we played a few clips back with the keywords removed, we can see that the motive just isn't there.
Something
getting eaten alive.
has taken and piled leaves and branches. We notice marks as we look at the trees and stuff. No marks of a saw.
I feel that the people witnessing the figure were highly excited and were simply sharing what they wanted to believe to be the case while overselling their point. The reality is, this could easily be two separate events, as in this could be a shelter made by an unknown person, group or creature, and then they happen to witness an unknown figure in the distance that is totally unrelated. However, the narrative makes it out to be just one event, which we just don't know this to be the case. A few other observations I would have expected to have discussed in this video is that there is no mention of the smell within or around the shelter, considering it's all smoothed out from something having been in there. By relying again on the testimonies of other Sasquatch encounters, the creature has been said to smell highly unpleasant, and this would be no different to its nest, den, or wherever it sleeps, and in this case, this shelter.
Linda Newton Perry is a Bigfoot believer.
I believe I've smelled it. It smells like skunk. It's very filthy smelling.
There would also be hair throughout the shelter, especially around the entrance, which no one mentions or notices. He also makes no mention of tracks or imprints of any kind leading to or from around the campsite. Also, looking at the scarring on the tree, or the claw marks, look to be quite old, so they could have been there way before this shelter was constructed, because these leaves here are still green. So in this case, the narrator led us with his words to all conclude Bigfoot, rather than creating an alternative possibility of it just being built by people, or even that is just a guy walking across the ridge. However, the only truth in this case is that we will never know the truth. We will never know what built that shelter or what that figure was they witnessed that day. Now, what are your thoughts about the Marble Mountain Bigfoot video? Do you think the events in the video had other explanations, or do you think this was the real deal and this was a real Bigfoot and Bigfoot's campsite caught on tape? Share your thoughts below, and if you have time, check me out on my socials, which you can find in the description. Also, my new site is live, theobservantman.com, and by following the link that's also in the description, you can get yourself a copy of my free ebook. In it, I share my 5-step process of how I personally go about analyzing people. And if you're still with me up until now, then thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to show your support, then a like is always a good start. And if you like my channel, then please consider subscribing. And with that, observers, this concludes my review of the Marble Mountain Bigfoot video. So, until next time.